Hi BookTube. I am here after having not updated for a few weeks with not much of an update, but actually with a book haul and a massive book haul because my whole buy one book a month thing kind of fell to the wayside. And there was a book sale. There's the annual book sale for the Canadian Federation of Women or something, and I had to go. And I got lots of books. That's this one bag. There's another bag, and then a bunch of books on my chair here because after the sale, we went to the thrift stores and, things just, you let one thing slide, and it was just a slippery slope into buying more books. What can I say? So I'm just going to dive right on into it. I'm going to pull bag one up here and just go through it. So I got this one, Ruth Padel, The Poem and the Journey, and 60 Poems to Read Along the Way. So I'm interested in reacquainting myself with my studies. I have a Bachelor of Arts in English, but it's been not 20 years. It hasn't been 20 years. It's been 16 years since I've graduated. And I'd like to get back into more learning, so this is just kind of about how to analyze poems and poems to go along with it. So I thought that would be a good place to start there. I'm just gonna throw them here. That's where I'm gonna throw them. Then I am very interested in Carlos Fuentes' works, so I saw this one. This is Terra Nostra. I have no idea what this one's about, besides the fact that it's by Carlos Fuentes, who is one of the classic Latin American authors. And if you're interested in postmodernism at all, you'll have heard of him. So this is concerned with nothing less than the history of Spain and South America, with the Indian gods, with Christianity, with the birth, the passion, and the death of civilization. So it seems just to be a very epic tale. It is fiction. So that'll be interesting. I know Fuentes had a history. His family traveled. I was going to say his father's in the military, but I don't know if that's true. But his family traveled a lot, so he's lived all over the world. So he's got a lot of also worldly experience as well. So it'd be interesting to see his perspective there. On a totally different note, here's Doctor Who's Fairy Tales, Time Lord Fairy Tales. These are written by Justin Richards, and it says there's some illustrations in here as well. Oh, I like that they're just black and white. They're I know there's a special word for them, but somehow they're cut. Oh, is this? Something tells me this has to do with Beauty and the Beast, and I'm very excited for that. That looks pretty cool. I don't know if you can see that. There's bookshelves all around it, and there's a beast and a woman, and then the Doctor in the back, the TARDIS, of course. So that'll be a good addition to my Doctor Who shelf. It's not completely Doctor Who, I'm just looking over it now. It also incorporates Star Trek, Supernatural, and Stargate, so it's not, like the Star Wars shelves. Yes, plural there. Anyways, let's keep going. The Sleeping Car Porter by Suzette Mayer. I've been looking at this. It's all the time at Costco. I see it. I've been looking at it, but I didn't want to spend a lot of money on it, not knowing too much about it. But for $2, I'll pick it up. That's what the prices of all the books were, regardless of size, hardcover or softcover. A big part of Canadian history is that Black people, and I think this is 1929. Yeah, especially in pre-civil rights eras, they worked a lot on trains as porters. I think that's a big thing in Black Canadian history. So this novel is about that, but I believe it is also, it is also about gay rights as well. Not gay rights, but a gay relationship as well. So it sounds really quite interesting. This is starting to fall over. Oh, I picked up this. This is totally not usually my comfort zone, but it just kind of sounded interesting, and I thought I'd give it a shot. So this is Spring Snow by Yukio Mishima, and I am really into Japanese literature to the point that on my spreadsheet I have translations, but minus the Japanese translations, because I tend to read a lot of Japanese books, so I kind of wanted to like see what other translations I was reading, because it's just so like intuitive for me to go now for Japanese translations, Japanese works. So this is the first book in the Sea of Fertility, and I'm not entirely sure. Two lovers enact their tragic passion in a Japan beset by stark class divisions and cruelly shifting values, is all it says. But it is a romance written by a Japanese man in the 1920s. Or he was born in the 1920s, 1970s. Oh my god, sorry. I should read the backs of these books instead of just like skimming them. He committed ritual suicide in 1970. Okay, so, that just makes the book even more fascinating. Like, wow. Okay, anyways, let's move on to something else, something completely different. A Redwall book. I've been collecting these because I want to read the Redwall series. I believe I'm reading them in publication order. I know there's some different ways that you can read it, but I'm doing publication order because that's the way they came out. So, yeah. So this would be the 5th book published. I'm currently reading the 3rd book, yes. So this is Salamandastron, which is actually referenced in the 2nd book. So that's pretty cool. Redwall, if you don't know, if you didn't have the grand pleasure and privilege of growing up when this was a TV show, I believe in the early 90s, or just didn't happen to catch it or read these books, this is about, it's like a fantasy, but all the characters are like animals, and I think the biggest animal is a fox, but we have badgers as well, so like, you know, not too big animals. Most of the characters are mice, as a matter of fact. But yeah, this is going to be a grand adventure about one of the current character's grandfather. Yeah. Okay. Then I have this one, Mona's Dance, and this person seems interesting when I was looking her up after, by Anne Diamond. This is described as post-feminist comedy. But what made me pick it up was this at the end, where it says, the novel begins in a traditional journal form, passes through a psychiatric case study, and ends in a surreal dance of death. And I just said that kind of piqued my interest. Yeah, but Anne Diamond is like a really interesting person. She was like really good friends with Leonard Cohen, who, if you don't know, is a Canadian poet, musician as well. So she just seems like a really interesting person in general too. So thought I'd pick that one up. And the cover's really cool. Sorry about the glare there. Okay, John Brunner is one of my favorite authors, science fiction authors. So I picked up one of his books. This is Catch a Falling Star, and now I have the song stuck in my head. But yeah, just, you know, not pulp science fiction. Not all his novels are pulp. I highly recommend Stand on Zanzibar and The Sheep Look Up by him, which are like still scarily present. In fact, in Stand on Zanzibar, they have an orange president, which was reading during 2016. I was like, oh boy, this is a little too prophetic for my liking. Yeah. Anyways, then I have The Bookshop and the Barbarian by Morgan Stang. I have been reading Legends and Lattes, and it's along the same lines, that it's a cozy fantasy, low stakes, not much is going to happen. I'm really enjoying Legends and Lattes and how just kind of mundane it is, but you've got like these fantastical creatures, of course. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading another version of that. A barbarian opens a bookshop after, you know, being a barbarian. This next one, the cover ripped off, but I'm okay with that. I don't know why the books are falling off here. The table's small, but okay. But I wanted to pick it up anyways. This is called like People in History by Felice Bacano. And this is, it deals with gay life and subculture in the last half of the 20th century, with Vietnam War, AIDS, you know, that kind of stuff. So I thought it'd be interesting to pick it up. As I said, the cover's fallen off, but I really, I do care, but I also, like, it's not going to prevent me from spending $2 on it. I'll just take the book cover together. That's fine was me. And then I got this. I've been meaning to read Ben Bova. I hear a lot about him, and I didn't have time to look. I had just come off a 16-hour overnight. Luckily, my aunt and my mom had driven me to the book sale, so I was tired, and there were like crowds of people, and I didn't want to keep them waiting. I wanted to get through things fast, so I just kind of picked up this one that seemed like it was a new one, but it's number 21 in a series. I looked it up. You don't have to read them in order, so thankfully. Hopefully I can just dive into this. Let me know if I can. This is New Earth by Ben Bova. Science fiction. Discovery of a new Earth-like planet. Yeah, I just picked it up because of his name. This one I picked up again because I wanted a refresher on grammar. And like this is a classic, the Little Brown Handbook. Yeah, so this is just a grammar, like literally grammar book. Yeah, I kind of wish I held on to my high school one because I really like those ones, but for some reason I didn't. But I now have this one to give myself some refreshers. And then I have this, Out of the Sun, by S.E. Edugyan, and another great Canadian. This is part of the CBC Massey Lectures, and I do like those. I picked them up. Sorry, I got something in my eye. Okay, I do like picking them up, especially if they're on topics that I like. And so this one is about race and storytelling. And this is from a Canadian perspective, as I said. S.E. Edugyan wrote Washington Black and I believe Half-Blood Blues. Where is she on my shelf? She is in the back of all the other books, but I believe those are her two most well-known books. And then I decided to pick this one up. I'm interested in learning about the I'm not sure if I'm using the term correctly, the apocryphal Gospels, so the Gospels that weren't included in the New Testament, the canonized New Testament that we know now. So I read about the Gospel of Thomas, which was interesting, and this is the Gospel of Judas Iscariot. Judas. We all know who Judas was in the Judeo-Christian. I say that. It sounds like, but I assume everyone knows who Judas is. But you know, maybe you're from a non-Judeo-Christian tradition and you don't know. So Judas was the betrayer of Christ. He was bribed 30 silver coins to identify Christ to the people who ended up crucifying him. Yeah, so that's interesting. I've read work by Bart Ehrman before, and yeah, I'm interested enough to see his perspective more. Then I got to this, Mind Spread Out on the Ground by Alicia Elliott. I've been meaning to get to this book for a while. I just never had a copy of it, and now I do. So Alicia Elliott is indigenous to. I just saw Craft Dinner. Why she lives in Canada. Like, yeah, why aren't you calling it Katie? I guess because it has to appeal to Americans. Sorry. if you're Canadian, you know what Katie is. I guess you have to spell it Craft Dinner on the back. Anyways, this isn't about Craft Dinner. This is about indigenous, growing up indigenous in Canada. Yeah. Let's go start making sounds because the book's starting to pile up now. I'm not editing. That's what's deterred me from making a lot of videos, is just sitting down and editing. And like, I'm done. I want to make videos. I don't want to edit them. So you're just getting unedited noises and everything. So then I picked up another book on Christianity, From Jesus to Christ, by Paula Fredrickson. And this just kind of explains how we got from like historical Jesus to religious Jesus, if that makes sense. Yeah, she explores the way the new Christian communities interpreted his mission and message in light of the delay of the kingdom he had preached. So yeah. And then I got another book on religion. Big this fell. This is Introducing Religion, Readings from the Classic Theorists, compiled by Daniel L. Powles, and this includes Oh, it includes someone's notes. How lovely. But includes all sorts of different religious theories. So we have Animism and the Origin of Religion by Tyler, Magic and the Rise of Realism by James Fraser. I have his book, The Golden Bough. It is like, I think it's like 1,500 pages. It is massive, so I'll be delighted to read a little excerpt from it. Religion as Neurosis by Sigmund Freud. Religion as an agent of economic oppression. Religion as response to the sacred. So it's not all bad, but it's interesting to read religious theory. Okay, one more book in this bag, and go off to the side. Oh, by the way, okay, this is, if you're Canadian and you go to Dollarama, they have these bags with Van Gogh prints on them right now, so just, and they're really good for like groceries and carrying loads of books. I think I stuffed almost 30 books in here, so good size. So I got Word by Corey Stamper, The Secret Life of Dictionaries. Yeah, so it's just what it says on the title, I hope. I'm gonna go to this bag next. There's your typical, Sobeys bag there. Reusable bags, but how many do you have? I have far too many, and I keep trying to get rid of them, but then I keep forgetting them and having to buy more. It's a whole thing. Anyways, I've been meaning to read this book. I've tried it many times on ebook, on audiobook. I just never really could get into it in those formats, so physical is like my default nowadays, considering that my ebook reader is broken. I don't have as much time to listen to audiobooks as I used to. But physical. Women at Point Zero by Nawal El-Saadawi. And this is about a woman in Egypt sentenced to die because she killed a pimp. And it tells her story. It's only 108 pages, so it'll be interesting. And then here, I believe they are all from the same series. And I was very excited. I saw books 6, 7, and 8, and I was just like, I should buy them because they're $1.50. And who knows when I'll be able to see them again. But then I was like, no, I'm not going to, because the first 5 books aren't there. And then I found the rest of the books. I had to. I couldn't do that at that point. And that is this in no particular order. The Expanse series. So this one's Babylon's Ashes, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the series. That says on the side. I could have done that. So yeah, we have that one. We have Tiamat's Wrath, which is book 8. We have Persepolis Rising. This is book 7. This one is Nemesis Games, book 5. Keeps going. This is book 1, Leviathan Wakes. I have read this one. I listened to it on audiobook, but I'll probably reread it again. It's been a while. This is book 2, Caliban's War, and I think, I can't remember if I started this one or if it was one of the, no, it must have been one of the side novellas that I had read as well, because the stuff on the back doesn't strike any bells. So book number 2. It is just the other 2 books in here. Books 4 and 3, Abaddon's Gate, and that's confusing because this one has the name in the big colored lettering, and this one has the name of the book, and this one has the name of the author. Just interesting. Okay, so yeah, so I got the first 8 books. I believe there's 10 altogether, so that's awesome. And I've already been talking for 20 minutes, but I'm gonna continue because there's another big, huge pile over here. I can't move the camera, the phone, just because of my setup here. So I'm just gonna kind of sneak off to this side and sneak off camera every once in a while to grab books. So I got Shogun by James Clavell. This is a classic. I know there's some ick about this being like a white man writing about Asian history, but I'm interested to read it. Anyways, I feel like if I go in knowing that, you know, it's okay to explore it. I've been meaning to read some Cameron Harley. So this is God's War, Beldam Apocrypha, Volume 1. Yeah, just picked it up because of the author's name. This is the thought process which goes on in your head when there's like a bunch of people around you and you just got to pick up books as you go. Paper Girls. This is a comic. I believe there's some time travel shenanigans stuff going on. It was very popular when it first came out. Yeah, so I thought I'd check it out. Oh, and this. So this was at the thrift store, and I was about to check out, but they have like these racks. They're just full of like stuff that have just come out, and they're slowly going to put it on the shelves, but you're free to look at them. And I saw this book, and I've been meaning to buy this book for a while, and in paperback form because, does it have the price here? Yeah, it would have been $44 new in Canadian. And it is this XX by Ryan Hughes, and this is a experimental text, and you know I'm very interested in those types of books, so I'm so glad to find it. I believe it was from the Sally Ann, the Salvation Army, we call it the Sally Ann, the thrift store, so yeah, not entirely sure, I think no more than $3 I think it was, so awesome. Just got fixed that. I want to wreck books. Okay, I got another 3 Redwall books here. We got Mariel, and we got Mossflower, which I've already read. This is book number 2, but I didn't have a copy of it. I borrowed mine from the library. And then I got Outcast of Redwall. So yeah, I really thoroughly enjoy Redwall. I'm just gonna hold up one of these covers. They're written by a man who was initially writing and telling these stories to a school for blind children. So they are very descriptive, and not just in the visual sense, but in like smells and the way things feel and stuff like that. So it's very, very descriptive, but in ways that are not usual, if that makes sense. Yeah, and thoroughly enjoyable. They don't hold back. Like, there's violence and death, but it is dealt with in an age-appropriate way. So yeah, it is highly recommended middle grade series. 2 Canadian authors here. Boom. We have How to Pronounce Knife by Suvankam Thamavongsa, and this is a bunch of short stories. No, this was, won the Giller Prize. Yeah. I think it's mostly, I'm not going to say it mostly, I'm just browsing this. People who are struggling to find their bearings in unfamiliar territories. And then I got Velvet Was the Night by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. And this, I started reading, I got it from the library, but I didn't finish it in time, so I bought my own copy. Sylvia Moreno Garcia is the one who surprised me with Mexican Gothic. I actually really liked that book last year when I read it for Canada Reads, so I'm interested in picking up more of her works. I could not pass up this copy of Psycho the Werewolf by Stephen King. Oh, that is grotesque. I was trying to show you. Okay, well, it's a Stephen King horror novel. Why am I expecting the pictures to not be graphic? This one's not so bad. There's a werewolf right there. They're full color pictures. What the heck is going on there? I haven't read this, so I'm not entirely sure why he's holding a bird like it's a kite or what's going on there. So yeah, that's Stephen King. Stephen King was another one of those ones. Like, I used to be really snobbish and be like, oh, why would you read Stephen King? Like, he puts out, like, so many books a year. None of them, like, they can't be good. And then, to be honest, I read the Mr. Mercedes series first. And I was like, it's actually pretty good. And now I've read more of his stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, some of his stuff is pretty good. I also got Out of My Mind by Sharon Draper. I know when you look up books about disability, this is one that keeps coming up. I believe the main character has cerebral palsy, I think. And Sharon Draper's daughter has cerebral palsy, so she does have some experience with it. So yeah, it's one of the books that always comes up when I look at books about disability. Fiction books, specifically. And I have had an interest in reading more of this guy's work, Federico Garcia Lorca. So this is a book called In Search of Duende. And so this is there's a lecture he has in here called Play and Theory of the Duende. I don't know what duende is. We only know that he burns the blood like a poultice of broken glass, that he exhausts, that he rejects all the sweet geometry we have learned. A demonic earth spirit embodying irrationality, earthiness, and a heightened awareness of death. So, and poetry. And then I picked up this book. This is Black Rain by Masuji Ibushi. And this is about the bombing of Hiroshima. Fiction. Yeah. Then I got the first 3 volumes of Unwritten. I've read these on e-comic version, and I thoroughly enjoyed the series and saw the first 3 and decided to pick them up. So I did that. Then I have this, White Trash, The 400-Year Untold History of Class in America by Nancy Eisenberg. I have a strong interest in working class people in history and economics and stuff like that, so this is hopefully going to inform that interest more. This pile's getting big, and we're almost done. There's four more books. And this one's really funny. How to Talk to Your Cat About Gun Safety. I picked it up purely because it sounded funny. And I have cats. I don't have guns, but I still want to talk to my cats about gun safety so that they, don't accidentally shoot anything. They have claws and sharp teeth. They don't need guns. I got another Doctor Who book. This is Doctor Who Graphica, infographic guide. So it's just exactly what it says. I love infographs. I just think they're so cool to look at. And I love Doctor Who. Please, I'm trying to catch up. I am on, I can't remember what season it was. The last season with Jodie Whittaker. I am very far behind. So I haven't watched the specials and I haven't watched the new Doctor. I have no opinions yet. I love it, although Doctor Who can do no wrong for me. So I am, no spoilers, please. And no asking my opinions, because it'll be like, I haven't watched it yet. Then I picked up this book, Typecasting on the Arts and Sciences of Human Inequality by Stuart and Elizabeth Ewan. And this is what it is about. It's about stereotypes and, if you know anything, especially about, what's it called? European colonialism and eugenics, they were trying to argue about skull size and shape and how that equates to intelligence and stuff like that. So maybe that's what that's about. Physiognomy, that word right there. I can say these words perfectly fine in my brain, but with the tongue, the mouth just doesn't want to cooperate. And the last book I got is the Bible for Blockheads. And this is what I've been looking for. I've been looking for something that just goes, through the Bible, one book by one book, and, explains it. Everything else seems to, jump around. And I was just like, no, I want to like look at this and go to the Gospel of Mark and read what that's about, or go to the book of Ezekiel and know what that's about, instead of like what other books are doing. So yeah, that is it for this book haul. Thank you for sticking around till the end if you have for the past 30 minutes. Hopefully put this on like at least 1.5 speed. I'll admit that's what I do with most videos, is 1.75 speed to get through videos. I don't blame you if you do. Thank you for watching.